Hi, welcome back to my channel and a new video. Today I'm going to be talking about the brand new Ghostbusters film, Frozen Empire. So the story here is about the Spengler family, picking up with them, having now moved back to New York City. They're working in the original Ghostbusters HQ, and after this mysterious artifact is discovered that possesses some kind of powers, it threatens to bring on another ice age, so the family and the original gang must team up together in order to stop it. So this, of course, is a follow-up and a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife from 2021. There's a new director on board here called Gil Keenan. This isn't a director I'm at all familiar with. I don't think I've seen any of their movies before. But I really was quite excited to see this because I loved what they did with Afterlife. I think in terms of bringing a sequel back, again, years later, rebooting the whole thing with a fresh face of characters, you know, kind of bringing back that charm, bringing back some of the humour, the excitement. I think it did a really good job of that. I really enjoyed what they did with that film, and I thought they were just going to follow that up again here with a similar sort of thing. And I have to say, I'm actually pretty disappointed with Frozen Empire. The more I've thought about it, the less I think I enjoyed the film. And I just think it makes far too many missteps overall in terms of everything that Afterlife does really well, all the things about that movie that I think really made it work, made it exciting and enjoyable to watch. They've kind of scaled back and taken the focus away from a lot of those parts and instead replaced it with loads more characters, loads more storylines, just really stuffing this movie with so much content that I don't think you really get enough time to immerse yourself or really care about any of these things that are going on. Not a terrible movie though. I did like some of the stuff they did here. I think the opening act is quite exciting, you know, bringing these characters back into New York City, and we're kind of catching up with them in this ghost car chase going on in the middle of the city of New York. And of course they're all a little bit older now. It takes place a few years later than Afterlife. And it's a really fun sequence. That's when I was kind of like, I'm ready for this film, I'm going to enjoy this. It's a great opening scene. And I also think as well, I do like some of the kind of creature effects work and design towards the end of the story. I thought one of the things I didn't like about Afterlife was them doing a very much a rehash of that original with the final battle, the final confrontation, very, very similar to the original film. And I like that they did something new with it here, kind of brought a new threat in, something different for these characters to face, and I thought that was quite interesting as well. Of course, you've still got this great cast of characters here, led by Paul Rudd, and I just think he was such a great choice of actor to have come into this reboot of Ghostbusters. Of course, you know, he's a very charming guy, very likeable, very funny as well, but more than that, I just think he has a very genuine connection and, you know, relationship with all of these other different types of characters and people in this movie, whether it be the original Ghostbusters crew or with the love interest or with the young kids. It all just feels very convincing to me, very genuine, and it means that you have some really funny on-screen moments, and all of it just feels so natural to me. So he was a great choice, and I think he is the glue really that holds this whole thing together and makes it a lot of fun. On top of that as well, having McKenna Grace again play this great new character of Phoebe, you know, in these two new movies. I think she's just fantastic. This very, very quirky character, very eccentric. And, you know, just she's a very talented young actress. She really does bring something unique and very fitting to the Ghostbusters team, I think, as well. She was a great addition when they started this new reboot of Ghostbusters. And I think her connection with Paul Rudd as well is just fantastic. Made for some really hilarious moments. Great banter between these two characters that I just loved. And really getting into one of my negatives, that was one of the things about Frozen Empire that was a little bit frustrating to me, is where I didn't feel like these two characters in particular got anywhere near enough on-screen time together. So it did feel like there wasn't as much of that comedy there that I was enjoying, as much of the spark with the dialogue. I wasn't really feeling that as much here. For a start, Paul Rudd really doesn't play that big a part in the story. I feel like he's kind of relegated to a more of a background character for some reason, where he only appears in very few scenes, I think. And Phoebe, you know, she kind of does get quite a focus here, but now that she's a little bit older, she's kind of going through more of the teenage angst phase, and you know, she kind of has her own storyline where she meets this other ghost who's around her age, and they're kind of connecting because of this storyline in which she can no longer be part of the Ghostbusters until she's 18, because they're now involved with they've got to be law abiding in their ghost busting activities. So you're kind of following this more teenage drama with this character, and that just wasn't quite as interesting to me. Something more about when she was a bit younger, kind of exploring this world with this group of characters, really excited about discovering new things and all of that. I just think that brought a little bit more fun to it that was lost here. But don't get me wrong, still a great performance from the actress. It brings me to this problem as well, where I felt like there was just way too much going on in the movie. So many different storylines, so many characters we're trying to focus on, and you don't spend enough time with anyone to really care about their particular situation or what's going on with them. And I think one of the biggest mistakes here was actually kind of bringing back the original cast and giving them a lot more to do here. I think that was a mistake. Not only because I actually think the weakest part of Afterlife was them coming back into the frame. You know, that kind of reveal at the end where they get involved in the final conflict. It felt a little bit underwhelming to me. I don't think it was really needed. It was one of the weaker parts of the film. And when you've got such a strong new cast of characters as well, I think kind of bringing all the old guys back for the nostalgia, I really don't think it's necessary. And on top of that, it does feel to me like they're phoning it in a bit. It didn't feel like the best. It didn't feel like they really cared a lot about what was going on. It felt like they were here to deliver the lines, you know, see these old characters again, and that was about it. And so much kind of time spent, especially with Dan Aykroyd's character and everything, and that stuff just wasn't that interesting to me. I think they should have kept it a much more focused story on the family, what they're getting up to in a new adventure with them. And I think all of this other stuff, all these other characters ended up padding everything out to where I couldn't really focus and care about any individual thing. Another thing is I just really didn't like the location. I get they're bringing it back to New York, to the place of the original, but I really liked what they did in Afterlife, having it in this much more remote area. It gives you the opportunity for amazing cinematography and these big open lands, a much more isolated situation, and it just brought a lot more atmosphere and just a more interesting vibe, I think, to the story. And it was something different. I thought it really worked. And to see here they were going to go back to New York, I wasn't really that interested in them doing that. And not only that, if they had brought it back and done something really interesting with that, I would have enjoyed it more. But I feel like so much of the runtime is spent in labs or the headquarters or various libraries, just loads of places inside. And I just didn't enjoy these locations at all. To me, it just wasn't that engaging, wasn't that interesting to look at. And when the film, I think, is already struggling with its character dynamics, it's not quite as funny. And now you're in a kind of more bland and boring location as well. That kind of put me off a little bit of the whole experience as well. I also really didn't think we needed the massive amount of explanations and dialogue about all of the rules of this world and why certain ghosts can come back and why certain artifacts mean certain things. Because to me, all of the Ghostbusters world, it's all a bit silly and fun. You know, it's not like it's a really dark and serious ghost story where you're really interested in all the little minor details about the lore of this world. It's all done much more for entertainment and fun. You know, the ghost designs and everything. It's centred around being fun to look at and a good time to see these characters try and capture these ghosts and whatnot. And here, so many scenes with like 10-15 long minute stretches of dialogue explaining all of the rules where I was really checking out a bit. Like, there's a particular scene in a library where this character that Patton Oswalt plays, and you know, he's a really funny actor. I wish they'd done more with him, but he's here and he's kind of explaining about this artifact and the Ice Age and what this all means. And it just went on for way too long, and it felt like the scene was kind of overly serious. Whereas to me, the interest of Ghostbusters is about the dynamic between the characters, to me, the history and the ideas surrounding why the ghosts are here, the different dimensions and everything, really isn't that interesting. And I might be on an island with that one. You might have a different opinion where you liked them kind of going more into the details and fleshing out more of the story here. But for me personally, what I enjoy in a Ghostbusters movie, it just simply didn't need all of these extra details. I know it does sound like I'm being particularly harsh on the movie, and I think it's because I only wanted this to be, you know, kind of a fun, exciting little adventure with this group of characters. I wasn't expecting loads from it, so the fact that I was kind of feeling a bit frustrated throughout it and felt like I wasn't enjoying it that much is why I'm probably seeming like I'm coming down quite negatively on the film now. You know, it's not a bad film. It's not a terrible film. There are still fun things about it. As I say, there are some fun sequences. A lot of those character dynamics and moments are still here. And a lot of you that have that nostalgia for the original as well, I'm sure will enjoy seeing the old characters brought in and given quite a lot more to do here. I think a lot of people will have fun with that. So I can understand why some people will still enjoy this. But for me personally, as a very casual Ghostbusters fan, this didn't really do enough for me to say that I can recommend the film, unfortunately. I'm only going to give this one a 2.5 out of 5 rating. So that's all of my thoughts for you on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. As always, please do let me know down in the comments section whether you enjoyed this movie. Do you think they built on what they did in Afterlife and make a better film? Or did you feel more like me, that they kind of let it down a bit with this sequel? Do let me know all of your thoughts down below. Also, if you've been enjoying my channel and my content, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Got a lot of great fun reviews coming out for you soon, so stick around if you want to see more from me and my thoughts on those. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.